presented by Rebel Women of Greek Mythology.
Psyche, a mortal woman who became a goddess. Now, all women are goddesses, but in this episode we talk about Psyche, a mortal woman who was transformed into a genuine goddess and ended up walking the halls of Mount Olympus itself, mingling with the Olympian gods. But it wasn't all handed to her on a plate. After all, this is Greek mythology, where tragedy is a given. She had to face a lot of challenges on her journey from mortal to immortal, and for love to triumph over despair. It all started in a kingdom where there were 3 sisters, beautiful princesses. 2 sisters were married, but the third, Psyche, was so extraordinarily beautiful that no man dared to ask for her hand. She was so beautiful that those who encountered her thought she might be the goddess of beauty herself, Aphrodite. Many travelled from neighbouring lands just to witness her radiant beauty, so captivated by this epitome of beauty that many turned their worship to Psyche instead of Aphrodite, believing Psyche to be some new divinity. This, as you might imagine, made the goddess Aphrodite very angry. And it's unwise to anger the gods and goddesses. They're quite sensitive even on their best days. Aphrodite, consumed with jealousy, devised a plan to eliminate her rival. She summoned Eros, the god of love, who some say was the son of Aphrodite, though Hesiod claims he was one of the primordial gods, those who existed before the Olympians and even the Titans. Whatever his origins, he was indeed the god of love. He was armed with a bow and arrows, golden arrows to make couples fall in love, and lead arrows to make them despise each other. Aphrodite instructed Eros to shoot Psyche with a golden arrow to make her fall in love with a hideous monster. But when Eros came upon the sleeping Psyche, he was so captivated by her radiant beauty that he fell deeply in love and whisked Psyche off to his luxurious home, defying and displeasing Aphrodite. Upon waking, Psyche found herself in a magnificent palace, sparkling with gems and a disembodied voice, telling her that this was her new home. She explored the palatial residence, completely in awe of everything she saw, and eventually fell asleep in a large, magnificent bed. She was awoken by a presence in the room. She couldn't see its face. She was terrified, but a calming, non-threatening voice assured her that there was nothing to fear, that she would be treated very well, and that all here was hers, including him, that they would be together forever. Love, or the god of love, enveloped Psyche, and she surrendered to his warm embrace and kisses. Kisses as soft as whispers. The only thing the god of love asked of her was that she never look at his face, and if she did, she would lose him forever. Psyche agreed. Psyche completely gave herself to love with this entity who treated her well and loved her, but only came to her at night, and whose face she could never see. By day she remained alone in the palace, and after some time she grew quite lonely and missed her home and the company of humans and faces. She asked the mysterious lover if she could visit her sisters. He said she could, but she must not breathe a word of her circumstances. Psyche, reunited with her sisters, told them of her magnificent palace and the wonderful gifts her husband gave her. They turned green with envy when Psyche revealed she had never seen his face. Her sisters convinced her that this entity must be a hideous monster. Psyche was consumed with curiosity. On returning to the palace, night fell, and her love arrived as usual and slipped into bed beside her. After they enjoyed their sweet embrace and her love was asleep, she lit a candle and shone the light on him. She was surprised to find that this was no monster at all, quite the opposite. He was the most handsome man she had ever seen. He was a god, literally the god Eros. The excited Psyche's hands trembled, and as a result, wax dripped onto the god, who awoke. And it was an angry awakening, as he had been betrayed. Psyche had broken her promise. Eros vanished, as he had warned her he would if she looked upon him. She ran from room to room trying to find him, but to no avail. Distraught, she left the palace, and thus began a long and lonely quest to regain her love, twice contemplating whether to end her life. She was so sad and so lost that when she encountered the god of the wilds, that nymph-chasing rogue, even he took pity on her, and instead of taking advantage of her as he might normally have done, he pacified her and gave her advice, counseling her on how to find and reunite with her love. Psyche wandered from temple to temple, trying to find her Eros, to gain any information that might help her, and it wasn't long before Aphrodite and Psyche finally came face to face. Since her first attempt at revenge hadn't worked, Aphrodite now had a second chance to get back at her rival Psyche, and declared that from that moment on, Psyche would do her bidding, effectively be her slave. She had Psyche complete ridiculous tasks out of spite and jealousy, including climbing a perilously high mountain to retrieve water that flowed into the river Styx. Like Pan, Zeus in the form of an eagle took pity on her and helped instead of taking advantage of her, as he too might have ordinarily done. Aphrodite then had Psyche venture into the underworld, hell itself, where first she had the daunting task of getting past its guardian, the savage three-headed dog Cerberus. She asked Psyche to retrieve a box from Persephone, queen of the underworld. Having retrieved the box and escaped the perils of the underworld, Psyche opened the box, wondering whether it might help her in some way. Opening the box, she inhaled its contents. It was a final breath, a breath of Hades, a breath of death. She fell lifeless to the ground, her despair and torment finally at an end. Eros had heard of Psyche's unwavering determination to reunite with him and decided enough was enough. He implored Zeus to intervene. Yes, he had offended Aphrodite, but Psyche had endured too much. Their two souls were destined to be together for eternity. He suggested that Psyche was deserving of immortality, and that he would marry her. Zeus was moved by Eros's deeply emotional plea and agreed to welcome Psyche on Mount Olympus. Eros went to the now deceased Psyche and, as he had before, gently kissed her. Again, a kiss as soft as a whisper. A kiss of life. Psyche was revived, as was their love. Eros lifted her up to the home of the gods, Mount Olympus. Even Aphrodite was present, and relinquished her envious deceit in the presence of such love. Psyche was given ambrosia, the food of the gods, and thus became a goddess herself, walking the halls of Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. Love had triumphed over despair and adversity, and these two souls, destined to love each other for eternity, were reunited. Immortalized in myth, the enduring nature of their profound love and Psyche's journey from mortal to immortal goddess serves as a timeless symbol of the power of love and the resilience of the human spirit in the eternal pursuit of pleasure, happiness, and love.